What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Wildcat Cave. Today's video should be very uncontroversial. There should be little to no trash talk or disagreements or arguments down in the comments section. We're going to be discussing two teams whose fans have a ton of mutual respect for each other. And those teams are, of course, the Tennessee Volunteers and the Kentucky Wildcats. Psych! I hate Tennessee. I hate their fans. I hate the color orange. Hell, I even hate Dolly Parton. I'm just kidding, Dolly. I love you. But I barely like Gatlinburg, and we can all agree that Tennessee fans are the absolute worst. They are still posting on a video in the comments that I made last year about them. Kentucky truly does live rent-free inside the minds of every Tennessee fan. I'm pretty sure there's more Tennessee fans that follow this channel than there are Kentucky fans. And if you're part of BBM, by the way, we need to fix that. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me. Hit the like button on the video. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps the channel a ton. And if you're one of the few Tennessee fans that don't already follow me, go ahead and do that for me as well. I'll keep talking trash to you. Really quick, guys, I asked you all in my last video what sort of interactive videos and things do you want to see out of the channel going forward, and you guys have responded. It seems like the things you all want to see the most are live streams here on YouTube where I can directly talk back and forth with you guys, as well as maybe doing like a live stream watch party so we can all watch the games together. And both of those things are 100% going to happen, and that starts next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, November the 2nd at 8 p.m., I'm going to be hosting the first ever live stream here on the channel. We'll discuss things like the win we're going to get at Tennessee, the first basketball exhibition, and a lot more. My goal is for it to last about a half hour or so, but if the conversation's going well, we'll go as long as you guys want. So, everyone set your clocks, hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Make sure you're subscribed, and tune in next Wednesday the 2nd at 8 p.m. Check the community tab on my channel as well. I'll be posting updates and reminders there all week. Now, getting into the game. This game opened up between 11 and 13.5 point spread, depending on the sports book you were looking at. Since then, they've all kind of settled around 12, 12.5 in favor of Tennessee. Now listen, the intent of this video is truly not just to trash Tennessee and their trashy fans. They're having a great season, and their fans should be excited. But let's not forget, Kentucky is a false start penalty at Ole Miss and a Will Levis injury against South Carolina from also being 7-0 and also being ranked in the top 5. In my opinion, 12.5 is a lot to give this Kentucky team. I actually believe this game makes for a really interesting matchup. Neither of these teams are scared of each other, and last season this game became a shootout and Tennessee squeaked out a 3-point win in Lexington. Like I said, this matchup is super interesting to me because it's one of the best matchups that we will see in the SEC this season. Because it is strength versus strength, and each team's strength is one of the best in the country. Now, we will start with Tennessee's offense, and they are undoubtedly explosive and can put points on the board in a hurry. Any team that can put 50 up against Nick Saban in Alabama needs to be taken serious. We're hearing Hendon Hooker Heisman whispers at this point, and that receiver they have in Jalen Hyatt, he's the real deal, man. He is going to play at the next level. The Vols are averaging more yards per game than anybody else in the SEC. They're averaging around 200 yards on the ground per game and over 350 passing. That is over 550 yards of total offense per game, and that leads the SEC. Their offense is no joke, and Kentucky's defense better come ready to play. Here's the interesting part, though. The strength of Tennessee is clearly the offense, but guess what Kentucky's strength is? Their defense. As of right now, Kentucky's defense is ranked 2nd in the SEC by ESPN, right behind Georgia, and right ahead of Alabama. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that Kentucky's defense is better than Alabama. I'm just telling you what the numbers say. And right now, they say that this is the best defense Tennessee has seen so far this year. Remember, Brad White's crew held the #1 SEC rushing team in Ole Miss, who averages over 250 rushing yards a game, to only 186. And that's still a lot of rushing yards, but that's better than anyone else has been able to hold them to this year. Then they went and took a Mississippi State offense who averages over 400 passing yards per game and held them to only 203. That means Kentucky's defense has taken the best passing team and the best rushing team in the SEC and completely neutralized each team's strength, and I think they have a chance to do the same thing against Tennessee. Because of that, I don't see this game being in the 50s for either team. This will be the best offense UK has seen this year, but this will also be the best defense Tennessee has seen so far. In my opinion, the winner of this game will be in the 30s. Now, if we flip things around, Tennessee's defense has been all but awful this year. Only 3 teams in the SEC give up more yards per game than Tennessee. They only give up 50 yards less than Vanderbilt's defense. They also give up 23 points a game, which is the same amount of points that Missouri's defense gives up. And on top of that, Missouri's defense is actually ranked higher than Tennessee's defense. When it comes to rushing defense, though, Tennessee is oddly the best in the SEC. Literally the best. But their weakness is their corners and their safeties, and they give up the most yards in the SEC passing per game than any team, and it's not close. They give up over 330 yards through the air, and that plays perfectly into Kentucky's favor. Kentucky might not be the air raid team that Mississippi State and Mike Leach are, but keep in mind, Will Levis is legit in the contention for the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft, and he is not afraid to sling the ball all over the field. And for that reason, if the game is close late and Kentucky is down, you cannot count them out because they will be able to move the ball. Now, obviously, Tennessee's corners are terrible. They are bad, no good, throw them away, try again next year. And we possibly have the most explosive receiving core in the SEC. We've seen the big-time catches Dane Key can make. We've seen how explosive Barryon Brown is. We've seen how shifty Tavion Robinson is. And he's coming back after taking a game off and then having a bye week and will be 100% healthy. Also, their offensive line will be 100% healthy again. This Kentucky offense and their weapons should be fully loaded for this game. Again, Kentucky will need some big explosive plays in order to win this game, and I think that can come through the passing game and letting Will Levis and company do what they do best. On the ground, like I mentioned, Tennessee's defense does really good holding teams to under 100 yards at 86 yards per game, but the Wildcats really shouldn't need a huge day out of Chris Rodriguez, honestly. If UK can run the ball just well enough to make Tennessee respect it, maybe 100, 115 yards in total, I think Kentucky can throw the ball deep and take the top off this Tennessee defense fairly easily. Now, one part of the game that always gets overlooked is special teams. Right now, Barryon Brown for Kentucky is the #1 returner in the entire NCAA. He's already taken one kickoff back for a touchdown, and he's taken multiple punts back. They just happen to get called back due to penalty. Like I've mentioned before, I think Kentucky will need a couple lucky breaks or a couple big plays in order to go down to Neyland Stadium and get the win. But Barryon Brown could be that explosive piece UK needs. Special teams haven't been all sunshine and rainbows for the Cats, though. If you've watched their games this season, you know the issues with that field goal unit. Everything from bad snaps to fumbling the hold to just flat out missing chip shots. Everything that could go wrong for Kentucky's field goal team has gone wrong. Now, it seemed like against Mississippi State, they did start to right that ship a little bit, but going down to Tennessee, they absolutely cannot afford the kicking woes they have seen so far this year. Overall, guys, if Kentucky wants to walk out of Knoxville with a win, they're going to have to make it ugly and slow down Tennessee's offense. which is kind of what Kentucky does best. By no means will this be an easy game for either team, but like I've been saying, this matchup is a lot closer than the national talking heads want to give it credit for. Tennessee's a tough team this year, no doubt about it, and no matter how good or bad they are, Kentucky always struggles with Tennessee. But in order for Kentucky to win, there's going to be a few key things they're going to have to do. Number one is win the turnover battle. They cannot give this Tennessee offense extra possessions, especially with good field position. Number two is they're going to have to score some cheap points. If they can get one or two scores on either an explosive play, a turnover, a punt return, or whatever, I think they give themselves a really legitimate chance to win. Number three, that same defense we saw against Mississippi State has to show up in Knoxville, and getting off the field on third down is going to be key. And then finally, number four, we got to be sharp on special teams. This is not a game you can miss field goals and expect to win. For my final prediction, guys, I'm going to take Kentucky to cover the 12.5-point spread. I think that's crazy high considering each team's strengths and weaknesses and remembering how this game went last year when both teams have most of their stars returning. For the score, I'll take Tennessee 31, Kentucky 27. Even as a die-hard UK fan, it is hard for me to pick the Cats to beat Tennessee until we can prove we can do it on a regular basis. But something I want to make abundantly clear, if Kentucky can walk into Knoxville and pull out a win, do not be surprised. I'm telling you now, do not be surprised. This matchup favors Kentucky in a lot of ways. By no means will it be easy, but if you're a Tennessee fan and you're writing this game off as a win, don't be shocked when it's close in the fourth quarter and Kentucky is driving down the field. Plus, imagine how heartbroken Tennessee will be having the most magical season they've seen in 2 decades. Then their rival and a team they view as their little brother comes into their stadium and spoils everything for them. That would rip their hearts out, be one of the most devastating losses that fan base has seen in forever, and I'm here for it. Remember, guys, November 2nd at 8 p.m., we are hosting that live stream here on Wildcat Cave. Be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss it. We will talk about the results of this game and a lot more. Tennessee fans, you're also welcome to join. Leave your predictions in the comments, and I will see you guys Wednesday at 8. Go Cats!